Hello and welcome to week 8. This week we are going to look at probability and statistical analysis in Python. We will look at the basic probability concepts, what events are, conditional, dependent or independent. We will look at the common distributions and then the central limit theorem. My name is Mildred. Now at its core, probability just answers the question, what is the chance that an event will happen or will occur? And an event is any outcome of interest, and if we want to access the probability of those events, we must consider all possible outcomes. The sample space is all of the possible outcomes. Let's give an example of a coin. When we toss a coin, we have either head or tail, right? Those are the only possible outcomes, and there are two possible outcomes. So the sample space will contain two events. The probability of an event will be now equal to the number of ways that the event can occur divided by the total number of possible outcomes. In this case, it's going to be 2, right? So if we want to say the probability that when we toss a coin is going to be head, the probability that heads will occur is 1/2. Tails will occur is 1/2. So there's a 50-50 chance either way. So it just provides us that framework that we use to predict how often events occur. But the real experiments that we need to do when we do data will yield sometimes unusual high or unusual low counts. And if we assume a fair count, then we collect data and use statistical methods that we're going to learn to estimate the probability, and then we compare them to what the ideal is supposed to be. So in mathematics, when we talk about probability, it's just the mathematical language of uncertain. You're not certain, but there is a probability or a percentage chance that something is going to happen. All right. So one of the ways we use it, I know you've seen things like A/B test, machine learning, and when we get to the machine learning course, you'll see how we use it for loss function. We basically use probability in many fields. We're going to see the fundamental in Python. Now we're going to use NumPy, and I'm going to import NumPy as NP. We want to see that the probability, or let's first of all define what an experiment is. When we do an experiment, like we're flipping a coin. Now, it is a process that already produces a measurable outcome. So an experiment is a process that will produce a measurable outcome. If we take a sample, now we say a sample space is the all possible outcomes that we can have. In the case of a coin, we say it is head or tail, just two. If we have, like, we roll a dice, we know we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 sample space, right? So the event is the subset of outcomes that you care about. So the event that a tail occurs, so that's head and tail. The event of the tail is 1, the event of the head is 1. So it's either head or tail. So that's 1 divided by the total number of the sample space. All right. If we want to now say the probability of an event occurring, will now be the total number of favorable outcomes, that's the total number of heads that are possible, divided by the total number of possibility that exists or in the sample space. Okay. And then when we say complement, we'll say 1 minus the probability of an event. And when we have conditionals, like we say the probability of A given that B has occurred. So independence is knowing B tells you nothing about A, but conditional is given that B has occurred. All right, let's simulate 10,000 coin flips, and let's see how we can get the probability of head and tails and simulate it in Python to see that we'll almost get 0.5 for the probability. So let's say flips will now be equal to np.random.choice. The choice we have is head and tail, so put it as a list of head, tail. So these are the choices of that. The sample size we want is 10,000, right? And the probability is equal to, let's do 0.5, 0.5. So we now want to have the probability of heads will now be equal to, we'll say if the flips is equal to head, and want to get the mean of that, or the average dot mean, then let's print this, and let's say empirical heads will now be, let's put it in OF, and then let's make sure that this is approximately 0.5 when we print it to see the simulating the probability. So when I run this and I see that the empirical P head is 0.5 approximately. So we'll see how we did the the flips, and we created a random of 10,000, and we had the probability here. We use 0.5. We just try to simulate 10,000 coin flips. Now we talked about conditional, which is, so what is the probability that something will happen given that something else happened? We use this for things like insurance, where you want to see the correlation between, or when you want to categorize, maybe someone is a high risk person for insurance, so the probability of your insurance premium going high given that you've had several accidents or things like that, or the probability that something is going to, the cost of goods will rise high given the high cost of energy. So that is conditional, that one thing happens given that something else happens. Let's use pandas to illustrate conditionals. We'll import pandas as PD. We want to simulate someone has a disease given that the person is a smoker. So we want to get a probability of, or get a questionnaire where we have, if somebody is a smoker, yes or no, and then we want to see if the person has a disease, yes or no, and then we want to see the probability that this person has a disease given that the person is a smoker, right? So let's say df is equal to pd.data frame smoker. Let's give a list of answers. So this is yes, let's say yes, no, yes, no, yes. Now we have this, and then we want to give another, or let's say another list, and this will now be disease. We want to say this is going to be, let's say yes, no, yes, yes. Okay, so we have this. We now want to guess the probability of the disease given that the person is a smoker. So let's say probability given smoker, and this is going to be equal to, so let's get the length of the data frame. We want to get df.smoker. So we want to get the length of people who answered yes to smoker. So we'll say df.smoker is equal to yes, and so we're combining two, and we want to get df.disease is equal to yes. So the probability that someone has a disease given that the person is a smoker is what we want to get here. And when we get this, so the likelihood of that happening is this, that's the length, the number of yes to smoker and disease divided by the total number of possible outcomes, which is going to be the length of the whole data frame. So because we are saying probability that the person has a disease depends on if the person is a smoker, so we want to see the length of all the smokers. So we'll say length df.smoker equal to yes. So we'll close this here. Now let's print out probability of, I'll do this, probability of disease given that the person is a smoker will now be disease given smoker. Let's round this up and let's run this. So we have the probability that the person has a disease given smoker is 1. So we have the probability is 1 because when we look at the data we have is that every smoker has a disease and every non-smoker does not have a disease. So we can see that it's not a 50-50 thing, it is 1, so conditional. And so when we look at those kind of data sets, or you have a problem you want to solve, you have health records and you want to see, or what's the probability of a mother having a miscarriage given that the mother is an alcoholic, or the expected mother is an alcoholic, and maybe you want to see the cause of maternal mortality or fetal mortality or things like that. You want to see or do a correlation. You want to cluster different data, or you want to use probability to see, are these things dependent on each other? Is this condition based on this? Is there an independence that the presence of this does not equal the presence of this? All right, so let's look at the common probability distributions that we have. There are 3 types of distributions that you will encounter, and the first one is binomial distribution. When we talk about binomial, bi means 2. You have a fixed number of trials, you have 2 outcomes, and then the probability always is constant. Let's get from SciPy. So SciPy.stat import binom, then we'll say import mat.lib pyplot as plt, and then we want to import numpy as np. So we have these imports. We want to do a 10 coin flip. We want to use this to illustrate binomial distribution. So let's say we do n is equal to 10 or 10 coin flips, and then we have p is equal to 0.5. That's the probability, and x is equal to, let's say, np dot arrange, and we have some 0, 11 because it's not inclusive, so we'll have 10 coin flips. So now the probability will now be equal to binom dot mxnp. Okay, so let's plot this now. So let's say plt dot bar. So what I want to illustrate to you is to see what a binomial distribution look like in a bar chart. All right, so prob, and then we want to have plt dot binomial distribute. We'll put the total number of coin flips is 10, and then the probability we have is 0.5, and then we put plt dot x label, and we'll say x label is the number of heads, and then let's do plt dot y label, and this is going to be the probability. Now let's say plt dot show. So this is an example of what a bar chart of binomial distribution will look like. So we can see that the number of heads, we can see the highest here, we can see is 5. For 10 distribution, we'll see that 5 here. So we can see how the distribution is. It's equal on this side and this side, left and right. All right, where we have fixed number of trials, which is 10, we have 2 possible outcomes, head or tail, and the probability is constant. We use binomial distribution, and so that's what it looks like. Now we have something else that is called the normal distribution, which is used when data is continuous. When you have continuous data and it's symmetric, is bell-shaped. When we say continuous data, like maybe we'll have things like grades of students or something like that. So let's do this. Let's use this norm. Let's do a normal distribution. Let's say we want to get some random numbers. I'm going to just delete this. Let's say data is equal to np.random.normal. We want to log is equal to 50, scale is equal to 10, size is equal to, let's do 100,000. Then let's plot this. plt dot hist. So we use a histogram. Let's see what a normal distribution looks like on a histogram. Means is equal to 50, then city is equal to true, and then we have plt title, and the title we'll have here is, let's say, normal distribution, and let's show. So when I run this, we'll see what a normal distribution curve looks like. So you can see that it's bell shaped like this, and so this distribution you say is normal, and we say that the data is symmetric. Now let's look at uniform distribution. Now when we talk about uniform distribution, we mean that it has equal probability across the intervals and every outcome is equally like. Although let's do matplotlib and numpy. Let me illustrate uniform distribution. So let's say we want to have, let's simulate a uniform data. So uniform data is equal to np.random. So np.random.uniform, we want 0, 100,000, right? Then now we have plt.hist, so a histogram of the uniform data. Let's put the bins is equal to 50. Let's put the density is equal to true, and then let's put a title, and we'll show plt.title. The title is uniform distrib, and then now we'll have plt.show. Let's run this and see what a uniform distribution looks like. So you see what we have when we have uniform distribution. Now we want to know that we use normal distribution when data clusters symmetric around a mean, like we have the test score, errors, height. Binomial distribution when we are counting successes in a fixed number of independent yes or no trials. Then we use uniform for random number generations, or when no outcome is more likely than the other. So that is when we use uniform distribution. Now let's look at what the central limit theorem talks about. Now most of the things you learn here is going to be mostly for exploratory data analysis and preparing clean data for machine learning and others, and you're going to go deeper and you need these skills when we get to the machine learning course. Now the central limit theorem states that the distribution of sample means approaches normality as the sample size increases. So if we have an exponential sample size, when we keep increasing that sample size, it will approach normality, and this is the reason that when we do most statistical tests, we assume normality from those tests. Now let us simulate an exponential or skewed, let's do a right skewed population data. So I'm going to have population, and I want this population to be right skewed, and I'm going to generate np.random.exponential. Now we have the scale is equal to 2, size is equal to 100,000. Let's do that like this. So we have an exponential scale, 100,000. Then we want to have, so we have an exponential randomly generated data, and we put the sample size to be 100,000. We want to draw 1,000 sample means from this. So let's say n is equal to 30, right? I want to draw, that's the size. We want to draw 1,000 of 30 sample size. So let's say sample means is equal to, we want to have the means of 30, random p.mean, np.random.choice, and we want to select from this randomly generated population. Size is going to be 30. So we're going to see that, let's do this. So let's say as we are drawing 1,000 sample means, and we want n is going to be the size for each one will be 30, right? So we want to do this for, let's use a true variable in 1,000. So let's plot this and let's see what the central limit theorem states. Let's prove it. plt.figure. So we are going to plot 2. We are going to plot the original population here to see how right skewed it is, and then we're going to plot the sample means that will prove the central limit theorem. So the figure, we'll put the fig size is equal to 12,4. Then we have plt.subplot. So we'll just do a subplot of both. So 1, 2, 1. I don't think I taught you subplot. Maybe we'll do that in our live web conference. And plt.hist means equal to 60. Color is equal to steel blue. plt.title origin population skewed. So let's do another. Here we just want all of them in one plot, so we'll do a subplot. So this subplot is 1, 2, 1. So we'll do 1, 2, 2. I'm going to explain this in our live web conference. plt.hist means is equal to 40. Color is equal to, let's use salmon color. So we use subplot when we want to compare two plots, and I'm going to use that to compare the original population and then the sample population that we did. Sample means, and this we're using this for the central limit theorem. And now let's put plt. Let's put title layout, and then we have plt.show. Okay, so what we want to prove is that even though the population is skewed exponential this first time, the sample means will approximate normal distribution at the end of it all. And so we can see the subplot. We have this is right skewed, and even though we have skewed, which means things are exponential, we can see that the sample means also assumes normality. And so whenever we have most statistical tests, we always assume normality because of that. Alright, so this is where we end this lesson. Next week, we're going to look at hypothesis testing and inferential statistics. Thank you, and see you next week.